everybody, my name is Miranda and today I'm here to discuss Mean Girls, the movie, the musical, the movie, whatever the official word for it is, but the movie adaptation of the musical version of Mean Girls, which itself is an adaptation of the 2004 Mean Girls movie. Now, the original Mean Girls, I feel like I was too young to really appreciate it when it first came out, but obviously once I got in high school and everything like that, I could totally see the vision of it. It's funny because I was sitting in the theater watching this one and seeing the young kids on screen, and I was like, I was too young for the original Mean Girls and now I'm too old for the new Mean Girls. It's just when you never fit in, you know? Someone needs to make a movie about that, honestly. I remember, I think I was in elementary school. I had to have been when the first one came out. And the funny story is, my mom actually took me to it because I was a big Lindsay Lohan fan, since obviously her and Hilary Duff were the queens of 10-year-olds at that time. So she actually had been in Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen, I think either that year or the year before. So obviously my mom, who was not super into movies, was like, oh, Lindsay Lohan's in a movie. My daughter loves Lindsay Lohan. I'll take her to see this movie. My mom quickly realized that Mean Girls was not made for a 8 or however old I was year old, and all I really remember about that movie is getting up so many times because my mom was like, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom, or oh, let's go get more popcorn, which my mom never gets popcorn or any treats or anything like that at the movies because, and I don't blame her, they're so expensive. So I was like, what is going on? And then I specifically remember, I don't remember the movie at all because I'm sure all of it was going over my head, she had nothing to worry about, but I specifically remember one time she's like, I gotta go to the bathroom, you gotta come with me, and I was like, I'm missing the whole movie because we just kept getting up. But honestly, so much of it went over my head, like I said, so I didn't really appreciate it till I watched it later on and was like, yeah, I could see why she was worried that this would be impressionable to my little elementary school self. But I was so excited for the musical. I was a little hesitant because they weren't really marketing it as a musical, and I don't know a lot about the musical, which I think actually ended up being a good thing because I couldn't be disappointed by songs they cut or changes they made, and I wasn't really attached to certain actors or actresses that did the parts in the Broadway versions like I would be with a musical that I do know if they turn that into a movie. I'm looking at you, Six the Musical. So in a sense, I do think that helped out because I know people are upset about songs they cut and changes they made, but I don't have that because I didn't know a lot about the musical. So going into it, I was just really hoping it was going to be fun. I think it was my first experience in a theater getting to enjoy Mean Girls because obviously they made changes, but I feel it was what I would have felt like watching Mean Girls had I watched the original one, being 14, 15, whatever, in a movie theater. That's what it felt like now, having been through high school and seeing all this kind of play out and how it relates to real life and stuff like that. So it was definitely enjoyable. I'm not a huge musical person. Normally I don't really like musicals. However, I do feel if it makes sense for the movie and you actually make it a musical, I will enjoy it. And crazily enough, because I never say this, and I do mean never say this, I actually would have preferred more songs. And I know there were more songs in the Broadway production that they cut out, but I feel sometimes I was sitting there and I was like, it's been a long time since we've had a song. I think the most gap I noticed was when they did Revenge Party, and then there wasn't a song for, I want to say another good 20 or 30 minutes. That was when I really felt I was like, where is the musical aspect of this? And I personally loved the songs. Again, for me, it was a lot of them hearing them for the first time because I didn't know a lot of the songs from the musical. I knew Regina George from the trailer and stuff like that, but again, the trailer did not really market this as a musical. You would not have known, I think, unless you knew. Casually, you would not have known. And as much as I love Olivia Rodrigo and the Get Him Back song fit the trailer perfectly, not doing any of the songs for the original trailer was an interesting choice, definitely, but it also gave me more of a fresh start going into it. So I fell in love with these songs for the first time, Sexy. I love World Burn. I've kind of heard before, but Renee Rapp, I'll get to Renee Rapp in a minute, okay? But just know, I especially loved Someone Gets Hurt. I had never heard that. I think that was my favorite musical song scene in the whole movie because it was just so well done. First of all, the manipulation on Regina's part to be hey, Aaron, you like used me too, like you just bought into all this, and like tricking him basically into thinking like, oh yeah, maybe like I did use her and like she's like deeper than she really seems, when you know she doesn't give a rat's ass about him at this point. She just wants him so Katie can't have him. It looked like honestly like she was like stalking, hiding from him, and like how he was kind of like chasing her down trying to find her, and then like when they would get to someone gets hurt, like all the party would like freak out, and how literally like Katie was like a puppet in that part, and like Regina was like puppeting her around to like Aaron. I kind of don't mess with Aaron. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't remember him too much in Mean Girls because like he was just there for me. This one I do love Chris, and like I'm sad he didn't get to sing because I was like actually excited and looking forward to him sing. Can he sing? Because like when he first got cast in this, I was like, I didn't know Conrad from The Summer I Turned Pretty could sing, and then the man didn't sing one song, and I have a hard time believing Aaron didn't sing once in the Broadway musical, but maybe he didn't. So now like I just have that question that's like I need to meet Chris now to be like, dude, can you sing? But I liked him better just because, like, obviously he's, like, more my type than the original Aaron was. But I feel like he kind of sucks. He gets back with Regina so quickly when he, like, clearly is into Katie and is flirting with her. And then it's just Regina being like, you just, like, saw what you wanted to see with me and didn't see, like, the deeper person there. And, like, you just used me like everyone else does. And then he's just back together with her. And I'm like, Aaron, you kind of suck. Like, but while that was my favorite musical number, I also really liked Revenge Party. I loved Sexy. It was so funny. Karen in this was so funny. And I know that she's become like a favorite since like the original movie premiere, so I love that she got to have like more of a role and more of a like starring role in this. I also really liked Apex Predator. I think just like the way it was set up was really cool because I kind of forgot how they like tied in that whole like jungle aspect to Mean Girls about how there's like this hierarchy and stuff. But I even just like Damien and Janice like telling you the story and like having you come along, and then Regina's just like walking down, and I don't know why, but like for some reason her walking down the hallway with just like her keys in her hand, like going to her car, I was just like, that seems just like such a normal, like you see that all the time, right, in high school. And yet like the way they framed it, I was just like, I love how like you're taking this normal thing so then you can really understand when they're saying like, oh, she's stalking the halls and like she's just walking with her keys, but like everyone can relate to seeing that moment, or like being that moment, I guess, when like you're walking down the hallway and you're like, I feel like a main character right now. There were 3 people in this movie that I feel like were perfectly cast and did their roles so amazing, especially considering like a lot of the roles are already so iconic by the actors who already played them in the original. Shout out to Damien. I think he was hysterical and I wish he had more to do. I know he had a song that got cut out that was in the Broadway show, so I wish they had included that, but he was really funny. But my 3 are Avantika as Karen. She, like I said, was so funny. Sexy was like her moment. I loved her, just all her physicality, like she embodied Karen every single moment. I loved when we first saw her. I noticed too, because I was like, is that what I think it is? Her Karen necklace was on backwards, which I thought was really funny and just like showed her character. There's also a part where Gretchen at the end like backs into her and then like she grabs her boobs as like, ow, like that's what hurts. And she's so funny. Like she totally gets the character, and I'm excited to see like more of what she's gonna do. She was on The Sex Lives of College Girls like for a moment, I remember, which is really funny because Renee Rapp obviously also was. But I'm excited to see more of her because I think she's really funny. And then I also loved Alii at Cravalho as Janice. I loved that Janice gets to be like an out lesbian in this one and like gets like a mini little love interest. It just adds so much more to her character and takes away that like homophobia of like the original one. The changes that they made I feel like do make sense, right? Because it's like you can't do that stuff anymore. Like it's not accepted and it should never have been accepted, but it's also like Regina knows socially like if she goes after her for this, then like people aren't going to be on her side. She's going to go after her for other things. But Janice was just so amazing. I mean, she's a great singer. Me and my friend were joking in the theater because my friend was seeing it for the first time too. Like he didn't know a lot of the songs or anything. He was like, she's a great singer. And I was like, I know, she should be a Disney princess or something. But Janice was just so fun. And I really like that her and Damien got to have like more parts together. Like when after the party, when they showed up and Damien was on like the little mini scooter and they just scoot away and he's like, I want my shirt back. Like it was just so funny. And I feel like adding to the story too of like finding out like what kind of went wrong with her and Regina gave you so much more clarity to why she hates her so much. And it was just really cool to see them like narrate it and open them and also like go through their whole plan with Revenge Party was really fun. And then obviously my number 1 cast for this is Renee Rapp as Regina George. I love her so much. My other friend that I went with is like number 1 Renee Rapp, like loves her so much, and during Someone Gets Hurt I was like concerned about her because me sitting there seeing it for the first time I was like, this is so hot. And like someone who's already in love with her, I was like, I'm concerned that she's passing out right now. She embodied this. I feel like if like Mean Girls is, and people do love Regina, like she's a standout. I feel like Mean Girls is kind of like Lindsay Lohan and Rachel McAdams movie, you know? Like they both did such good parts and are so like equally well loved in that. I feel like this one was way more Regina. Like that's why like the poster that you see kind of everywhere is Renee Rapp as Regina, and there's even like a cutout at my movie theater that I went to that was like they had all of them but like Renee Rapp Regina was like the main cutout that you could see. So this is clearly like her movie, and it makes so much sense when you see it because she embodies this totally. She's different than Rachel McAdams Regina, definitely, for sure. I feel like there is a lot more overtness to her, but in a way I feel like you get away with, because like you have to kind of understand, and I feel like that's what they did a good job, because sometimes the movies don't do a great job with this, but I feel like they did in understanding how social media comes into play, and how like not only is Regina like famous at the school and like feared at the school, but like social media plays a big role in like her downfall and stuff like that. I do miss the scene, and it makes sense with social media why they didn't have to do like the burn book and spread it everywhere, because as soon as one person sees it, like it's gonna get uploaded on Instagram and pictures are gonna be taken and stuff like that. But I do miss like the iconic scene of like everyone going like batshit crazy and like there's papers flying everywhere and Regina's just standing in the middle of it like that. Okay, I remember like even being however young I was, that part I do remember, like first like true plot twist like I ever remember seeing as a kid was when she was writing out all that awful stuff in the burn book and you thought she was gonna put Katie's picture in it, and then she puts Regina. Like even as little like 8-year-old me, I remember being like, what does this mean? Like that was my first real cliffhanger. So World Burns is obviously just perfect for that, and I feel like Renee as Regina was just so amazing. I loved her doing that, and I loved like the whole difference between they showed like her plotting and then her actually getting there and her reacting to it. Like when she says like, Katie, you may have won the battle, but I'm gonna win the war. You didn't finish me off. Like, oh, the scream she lets out when she realizes like what Katie did and with the bars is so good, and I just absolutely loved it. Like I wish it was longer. Like I said, I wish there was more songs. I do miss that they didn't have an epilogue at the end like they did with like the year later in the original, but I feel like they did do a nice job, even though like she kept being like, it's the drugs that makes me love everyone, but like Regina did get like her redemption at the end. I also love, I have to give a shout out again to Karen. Like they made her so sweet in this movie. Not that she's not sweet in the first one, but they just like went out of their way. Like she texted Katie after all the stuff happened to everyone hated her, being like, hey, like I'll still be your friend. And then when Katie won the spring fling thing, like she was clapping for her. Like Karen's just such a good friend, and like it really made me like appreciate her even more, you know, like she's just a very nice person that people doubt because she's not the brightest person you'll ever meet. I also really love the change of making Tina Fey and the principal's characters together. I thought that was really cute. There are some like classic lines that aren't in this just for obvious reasons because they don't fly anymore, but then there's also like weird lines that they decided to cut out, which I don't really get why, but maybe it's just because like they're so iconic in the moment that having someone recreate it is just like impossible, you know? I also love there's like this thing at the end kind of where you find out that Kevin G is part of like his own plastics, and it's like he's got a word that he's trying to make and they're like, stop trying to make it happen, it's not gonna happen. And I just really loved again like how they incorporated like TikTok and social media into this, and how like that kind of contributed to not only Regina's downfall but Katie's rise, and how like she got addicted to that, which I thought kind of happened a little too quickly, you know? I feel like her just like being there and like dancing when everything like went down, and that's why everyone liked her, because she kept it together, wasn't as memorable as like actually singing when the boombox broke. When I realized, because boomboxes aren't a thing anymore, that no one was gonna get hit in the face with the boombox, I was so sad, okay? But again, I just felt like that was kind of, I don't know, like thinking about it now, I feel like maybe it's kind of like she's like what was the thing that was saying of like, you know, it's like she didn't have an immunity to social media because she hadn't grown up with it. So like getting this taste all at once of like everyone loving you and talking about you, maybe it makes sense, but I just feel like it happened so quickly that all of a sudden she's like, you better be at my party, biatch, to Aaron and stuff like that. Like it just felt so quick, and that's where maybe it could have been a little bit more. And I think it also would have worked with Apex Predator. I know in the Broadway show was from Katie and Janice, not Damien and Janice, and Katie was kind of like, there was this part that I think worked better in understanding it sooner, where she was like, it's kind of fun to see her go after someone when you're like safe behind her, you know? And then she shakes it off like, no, no, no. But I felt like if they had kept that line in, then it would have made more sense about how Katie's kind of already like starting to buy into this a little, you know, instead of like all of a sudden her being like, oh, everyone's talking about me, which again I do get because like she's never been around that, so for her it's kind of all intoxicating. It's intoxicating for anyone, like even if you've grown up with social media, let alone someone who hasn't like her. So I just felt like they could have done a little bit better with that in a sense, but overall I really loved it. It was so fun. Like this was a movie I loved seeing in theaters with a packed house because like people were gasping and laughing and clapping, and like everyone loved Renee Rapp. Like when she came on screen with her whole intro, and it does take a little bit for her to come on, it's like a good like 15-20 minutes. When she comes out, everyone was like, oh, yes, like everyone was so excited, so it just kind of gets you more excited. And I really like knowing stuff that was gonna happen, like getting hit by the bus and stuff like that, but still everyone, like me and my friends, are like, what, like overreacting, because it's just like you get swept up in the moment, and it was just really, really fun. I really liked it. I don't think it's like better than the original by any means necessary, but I think it stands on its own. I think it holds its own, which is really fun. And Renee Rapp as Regina is iconic. Karen is iconic. A lot of the characters are just so good, and they really like made it their own. Like even Chris as Aaron, who didn't have like a super lot to do, and Aaron I don't like as a character. I feel like I resonated with him more than I did in the original, because he had like more of a like, you could kind of see how he was like over Regina but then getting manipulated by her, and then how hurt he is when he finds out that Katie, you know, lied to him and dumbed herself down to like kind of make him hang out with her, when like he's like, you just could have talked to me. Like having the understanding now of been through high school and stuff like that, seeing all this kind of play out, I feel like you just have a new appreciation for it, and I think it's super fun. The songs are so catchy. I've been listening to them ever since I got out of the movie, and it's just a fun time overall. And I'm really excited because I think that this could be, for like a lot of them in it, a like career first thing, where like these guys are gonna go on and have like amazing careers, and we'll look back and be like, hey, remember when we saw them in the Mean Girls musical? Like I think Renee obviously is on her way to being like a pop star, superstar. Avantika, she's supposed to be in like a Disney adaptation of a fantasy book that I'm really excited for. Chris obviously is in The Summer I Turned Pretty, and I think he's just gonna start being in more and more stuff. Ali'i I think is gonna be in some great stuff too. Like I really love her career post Moana. She was in Crush and I loved it, and now they're in this, and I'm just really excited to see more of what they do. And yeah, it was just really, really fun. I really enjoyed it, and I think like the people who are comparing it to Mean Girls, like it's its own thing, you know, like it's inspired by it, it's based on that obviously, but it's updated, but there's also stuff that I think they got to see and expand upon on this one. So it's just really fun. I really liked it, and I am so excited to watch it again and hear what you guys thought of it and what you thought of Renee Rapp as Regina, because I'm telling you, when her entrance, when she was like singing her song, and everyone in the theater was freaking out, like it was so good. So I absolutely loved it. And yeah, let me know what you thought about it down below in the comments, if you enjoyed it, if you like the songs, what your favorite musical number was, because mine was definitely, yeah, someone gets hurt. I just think like the whole, like, you could see her manipulating him and being like I'm just, you know, like you like when she literally saying you used me for like my place, I was like, is this girl serious? Like I couldn't believe that he fell for it. That's why I was kind of like, Aaron, come on. But then again, he is a whatever 17, 18-year-old boy, so it makes sense. But yeah, I absolutely loved it. So if you have seen it, let me know what you thought about it down below in the comments. Thank you guys all so much for watching my video, and make sure to give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!